under strips of bark, pale skin beneath the scab. Under strips of bark, pale skin beneath the scab. What's the difference between that first version and the second one? Well, it has to do with consonant sounds. Can you do both in your own speech? Welcome to Forward, where we talk about how to improve your spoken performance using text as our base material. And to guide you in this process, there is me. What's up, guys? My name is Jeff, and there is a concept in English called a held consonant or a stop consonant. And maybe before I describe them, let's just show the difference to see if you can imitate it. Bark, bark, plate, plate, raid, raid. What's the difference between all these words? Well, one of the things you're going to notice when I don't use a stop consonant sound, what happens is you can hear that release of breath very noticeably on the consonant sound. Bark, bark, plate, plate, raid, raid. Now, there's nothing necessarily wrong with making that consonant sound more present in your own speech. In fact, what that can do is it can add some weight, some heaviness to what you're saying. Don't do that. Stop it. Go to bed. However, if you're trying to achieve a more fluid speech, you're trying to soften things, you're trying to get from sound to sound in a way that sounds a lot smoother, well, then these held sounds are going to become very, very important for us. To do the held sound or the stop sound, basically what you need to do is you need to stop the full release of breath. It doesn't mean that air is going to stop completely, but you want to release the heaviness of it. Compare these words. Stay, state, ray, rate, see, seat, plea, plead, soar, sword. Can you hear a difference between all of those words? The first word has no consonant sound at the end of it. It's just finishing on a vowel sound. And then the second one is adding an extra consonant sound at the end. If you're looking for another way to practice this, try doing a progression where it just ends on a vowel, then ends on the consonant pronounced heavily, and then ends with the held sound. Soar, sword, sword, soar, sword, sword. Go, goat, goat, go, goat, goat. See, seat, seat, see, seat, seat. If we return back to our text, there are two words that have these held sounds in particular. We have bark and we have scab. See if you can do this progression. Bar, bark, bark, bar, bark, bark, ska, scab, scab, ska, scab, scab. When does this sort of held sound most commonly occur in English when we communicate? What's typically going to happen when a word or a phrase ends on a consonant sound? The other place you're going to see this is when one consonant sound is followed by another consonant sound. So, for instance, in our first two phrases, we have under strips of bark, pale. Do you see going from bark to pale? It can actually become smoother if you use the held sound. Compare bark, pale, bark, pale. Common sounds that take these held sounds or stop sounds include sounds like B, like scab, scab. T sounds like seat and seat. D sounds like did and did. But in all honesty, even some other consonant sounds may go a little bit softer than you would normally expect. For instance, in our dialogue, we have a word that ends on an N sound, the word skin. See, when I say it like that, that's a pretty heavy N sound, right? Skin, skin. But we can soften that to something that's a little bit more held like skin, skin. So instead of skin, it becomes skin. Some other words with N sounds that are similar to this. Sun, sun. Sun, sun. ra, ran, ran, ra, ran, ran, duh, done, done, duh, done, done. Let's now go back to our text and see if we can pronounce this with real heavy consonant sounds and then with some held sounds. We'll do it line by line, then the full text. First time, heavy consonant sound. Under strips of bark. Under strips of bark. Held sounds. Under strips of bark. Under strips of bark. The next line, heavy consonant sounds. Pale skin beneath. Pale skin beneath. Now held sounds. Pale skin beneath. Pale skin beneath. Our last line, heavy consonant sounds. The scab. The scab. Held sounds. The scab. The scab. Let's try to put this all together. All the text with heavy consonant sounds. Under strips of bark, pale skin beneath the scab. Do that one more time. Under strips of bark, pale skin beneath the scab. Held sounds. Under strips of bark, pale skin beneath the scab. Under strips of bark, pale skin beneath the scab. Are there any letters that you found to be more challenging when going from a heavy sound to a held sound? Be sure to let us know in the comments.